Gopi jana vallabha girivardhari Yashodanandana brajajana ranjana Yamunatiravan Chari Yamuna Yamunatiravan Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Danandana Brajajana Yamunatiravan Chari Yamunati Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तविंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। गंगामय जमुना मई की जय। श्री श्री गौरताय पंचतत्व भगवान की जय। श्री श्री राधा माधवश्य सखी जी की जय। जय भक्ति विघ्न नाशन श्री नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। सामवेद भक्तविंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। निताई गौर सीतनाथ प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू गुरु एंड गौरंगा। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्रील प्रभुपाद। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृता द्रव्यसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Readings from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text number 2, in the subject matter of description of the kingdom of God. लोके tenāhatāloke loka-pālāḥ hataujasaḥ nyavedayan viśva-sṛje dhvānta-vyatikaram diśām loke tenāhatāloke loka-pālāḥ hataujasaḥ nyavedayan viśva-sṛje dhvānta-vyatikaram diśām loke tenāhatāloke loka-pālāḥ hataujasaḥ nyavedayan viśva-sṛje dhvānta-vyatikaram diśām। loke, within this universe, tena, by the force of the pregnancy of Diti, āhata, being devoid of āloke, light, loka-pālāḥ, the demigods of various planets, hata-ojasaḥ, whose prowess was diminished, nyavedayan, asked, viśva-sṛje, Brahmā, dhvānta-vyatikaram, expansion of darkness, diśām, in all directions. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was imparted in all the planets. Sorry, please repeat. By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets, being disturbed by that force, asked the creator of the universe, Brahmā, what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? Purport. It appears from this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that the sun is the source of light for all the planets in the universe. The modern scientific theory, which states that there are many suns in each universe, is not supported by this verse. It is understood that in each universe there is only one sun, which supplies light to all the planets. In Bhagavad-gītā, the moon is also stated to be one of the stars. There are many stars, and when we see them glittering at night, we can understand that they are reflectors of light, just as moonlight is a reflection of sunlight. Other planets also reflect sunlight, and there are many other planets which cannot be seen by our naked eyes. The demoniac influence of the suns in the womb of Diti expanded darkness throughout the universe. Mukam karoti vachalang pangam langai the giram yat kripatam ham mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jayatam Suratav Pangav Mamman Namater Gati Matsarvasva Padam Boja Radha Madanam Now Namam Vishnu-padāya Krishna-vastāya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Swami-niti Namya Namah-acharya-padāya Nitāya Guru-padāya Gaur-katha-dāmdāya Nagaram-tāya Namam Vishnu-padāya Krishna-vastāya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Namam Vishnu-padāya Krishna-prishthāya Bhūtale Śrīmad-Bhakti-vedanta Swami-niti Namine Namaste Saraswati-deve Gaur-vāni-pracārine Nirvisesh-shunyavādi Paschatya-desha-tarine loke, tenāhatāloke, loka-pālāḥ, hataujasaḥ, nyavedayan viśva-sṛje, dhvānta-vyatikaram diśām. By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets, being disturbed by that force, asked the creator of the universe, Brahmā, what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? So first of all, I want to thank His Grace Anantīth Prabhu for giving an opportunity and making me an instrument to be able to present some exposition on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. And he gave me a tough shloka. There was a bit of a misunderstanding. So the shloka that he gave me before, I prepared for that. And in the night I came to know the shloka has changed, or this was the shloka. So I'll certainly make a feeble attempt to try to share some of my own realizations and understanding of the shloka. So I'm going to break this into three parts to understand what is really happening here. The first is the disturbance part. There is obviously a disturbance that has been caused by an act of Diti, Mother Diti, which obviously is going to have very far-reaching consequences. So to go a little deeper into the causes of disturbance, so in order to understand the disturbance, we need to go into the cause of the disturbance, wherein I would like to draw the attention to the previous chapter, which is chapter 14, text 38. And text 38 throws light on the cause of the disturbance, which, by the way, if we also in our own life of a sadhaka don't give attention to, that have a potential to cause disturbance in our lives. So this is the verse, text 38. Kashyapa uvacha aprātayadyād ātmanaste doshan mahurtikād uta man nideshāchita shāticārena devanam chāti helanāt. Translation: the learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. So inauspiciousness causes disturbance, and there were four reasons why this disturbance was caused. One, aprayatyat atmanaha. Aprayatyat, because of the pollution, atmanaha, of the mind. So first is the pollution of the mind. Second, doshat mahurtikat, matlab, muhurat dosh. So the time or the moment and its defilement. So when we are not, or we are doing sometimes even the right thing at the wrong time, can have the wrong consequence. And the third one is nidesha aticārena, neglectful of directions. So this happens or can happen potentially in our spiritual life, where certain directions are provided to us by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and we can neglect those, and that can cause disturbance. So nidesha aticārena. And the fourth one is devanam atihelanāt, being apathetic or being neglectful of also the respect that needs to be shown to the demigods. So these four things caused a certain disturbance, which Diti knew, by the way. And she knew that she would have in her womb not so good progeny. So in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, we understand that, even a union between man and woman should be done according to religious principles. When not done, because Krishna says, Kamo asmi bharatar sabha. So we obviously clearly see here in this situation that certain principles were transgressed, on account of which this disturbance was caused and inauspiciousness came about. But there is one more thing, which Diti did right, rather four things, which are also reflected in text 44 and 45. So it's not going all wrong. There is, and that is the beauty, that when we take the shelter of Krishna or put faith in Krishna, then even in inauspicious moments or acts, we can get some good results. So text 44 and 45, again Kashyapa Muni is speaking. Kashyapa vacha krita shokanutapena sadaya pratyavamarshanath bhagavati uru manakcha bhave mai api chadarat putrasyaiva cha putranam bhavitaike satam mataha gasayanti yad yashaha shuddham bhagavad yashasha sumam. The learned Kashyapa said, now he is appreciating certain things about Diti. He's saying, because of your lamentation, penitence, that means you have shown some, some kind of, penitence is some remorse, what you're doing, and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me. Obviously, her adoration for Lord Shiva was also because he was her brother-in-law, Mother Sati's husband. One of the sons, Prahlad, of your son Hiranyakashipu, will be an approved devotee of the Lord, and his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the personality of Godhead. So, inauspiciousness, there are 4 causes. Cause disturbance, but because Mother Diti had unflinching faith in Bhagavan and in Lord Shiva and in her husband Kashyapa Muni, and she was repentant. It wasn't that she was, blatantly doing something. She was repentant about what she was doing. On account of that, there is auspiciousness that enters into the arena where she comes to know that her grandson would be a pure devotee of the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj. So, even if the disturbance that was caused, for example, when there is manthan done, when you're churning of the ocean of milk, there is poison and there is nectar. So, there was the poison of inauspiciousness of that thought of Diti to wanting to conceive in a certain time that wasn't the right time. But because of her unflinching faith, there was this whole, the auspicious news given by Kashyapa Muni that you will be blessed with a grandson, as pure as Prahlad Maharaj. So this is the first part of what we are reading today. The second part is alluded by Srila Prabhupada on the issue between the modern scientist or scientific thinking, or they call the modern scientific rigor, vis-a-vis the Vedic science. So he's alluding to the fact that the Vedic science says there is one sun, whereas the material scientist, they tend to give an idea that all the stars and the moon are also, since they're reflecting light, they're also kind of suns, which is incorrect, because if that was true, then why would the lokas of the demigods also feel the darkness? If there was, if there were multiple suns everywhere, then on account of this event, the demigods should not have experienced darkness. So that's the big difference. Because the problem with the modern scientists is their process of that scientific rigor is the ascending process. So they will always be wrong, one, and two, they will never ever come to know the extent of the depth of even the material world, what to talk about the spiritual world. Material world by itself offers many, challenges in order to understand, because it's a relative world. For everything good there is a bad, for everything black there is a white. If I have to want to understand what is sukh, then I have to also understand and experience dukh. So in that, the material scientists are not able at all to conceive and understand the what do you call, the intricacies of the material world, what to talk about the spiritual world. But Prabhupada states that the Vedic science, or the science that is that is expounded in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, is perfect. It's a descending process. It is handed down, and now the question is whether we accept or reject it. So it's like a father telling a child that this is a table. The child may not be able to comprehend what a table is. It's just the question of a little more time. When the child matures, will be able to remember and say, oh, my father told me this was a table. And then the child is able to appreciate and understand that. Because instead of questioning, because the power of questioning isn't there in a child at that point, when one is a child. So same way, if we simply accept the descending process, even if we don't understand it, it doesn't take away the fact that it is the absolute truth. And when we get into our mature stage, we will be able to appreciate. And I guess that is why Srila Prabhupada wanted the Bhaktivedanta Institute, primarily to draw synthesis between the scientists of this material world, to be able to appreciate and understand the Vedic science and draw a synthesis there, in order for the humanity at large to ultimately develop faith in the absolute truth. So this is the second part. Now the third part. So we've gone through the Vedic science and the material science, what the difference is. And obviously we have the disturbances on account of, the inauspicious events and the auspicious aspects. How do we eventually dissipate the darkness? That's the question. And the very subject matter of this chapter 15 is description of the kingdom of God, wherein Lord Brahmā is being requested by the demigods to basically reveal to them the kingdom of God, which he does by giving the whole events of the four Kumaras going to the Vaikuntha world. And that is how he exposes the Vaikuntha world and brings auspiciousness in spite of the event or the verse that says that what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? When are you going to dissipate this? See, when somebody says, we're sitting in light and suddenly we put all the curtains on and we can't see and it becomes dark. So we're going to ask, where is the light? Why there is darkness? So embedded in that question is, how do we dissipate the darkness? So for us, how do we dissipate the darkness of ignorance that we can be impacted with too, in as much as Diti was, which we learned from the 38th verse of the previous chapter, is obviously develop our faith in Krishna. So on that, I want to share one verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is, we've all heard many times. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar, Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya re Adhikar. So, if we bring Krishna in our midst, in our lives, by the process given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Sadhu Sang, Mathura Vas, we are all sitting in Sri Mayapur Dham, Mathura Vas, and Sri Murti Rashadhaya Sevaya. By that we can bring Krishna, who is the light in our lives, who dissipates the darkness of ignorance. And wherever is Krishna, obviously there is no question of Maya. There is no adhikar. Maya doesn't have any adhikar to be present there. So I would like to read the purport of this particular verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna is, translation, Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2.9.34, which is the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, it is stated, Rite artham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta cha atmani tad vidyādatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in the shadows, for in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. Unquote. Wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. When a living entity becomes Krishna conscious, he is immediately relieved of all material lusty desires. Lusty desires and greed are associated with rajas and tamas, passion and darkness. When one becomes Krishna conscious, the modes of passion and darkness immediately vanish, and then the mode of goodness, sattva gun, remains. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he can make spiritual advancement and understand things clearly. This position is not possible for everyone. When a person is Krishna conscious, he continuously hears about Krishna, thinks about him, worships him and serves him as a devotee. If he remains in Krishna consciousness in this way, the darkness of Maya certainly will not be able to touch him. It's a very beautiful verse from Bhagavatam. The process is very simple. Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is so simple that sometimes we can miss it. So, if we take to the process of Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously, in spite of all the anomalies or inabilities that we may have in our engagements with the material world and the three gunas, we still have a hope and opportunity to bring auspiciousness in our lives, inasmuch as Mother Diti, in spite of her certain weaknesses, was still able to bring auspiciousness eventually by having the unflinching faith in Krishna and the unflinching faith in Kashyapa Muni and in Lord Shiva. So on that note, I would like to end a little early. Any comments? Any further? Sorry?
Hare Krishna. My question is, this invoking auspiciousness in everything we do seems very ritualistic. Is this how we live our lives according to as followers of Vedas, that we always consider proper time, proper direction, and all the other things that were mentioned? It seems like obsessive compulsive, at least for
So, there are certain strictures or rules that certainly have their value and they have an impact on our consciousness. So, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the most beneficent incarnation, allows, let's say, for example, not to even bathe. You could still chant Hare Krishna, a simple thing. You get up in the morning and, you can chant Hare Krishna. But that would not be acceptable if somebody has got Pujari Seva. You need to clean yourself and then enter the deity area. So the point is application. Where do you apply according to time, place and circumstance? The application is very important. There are in certain times and places, there are certain rules that need to be applied, which is part of the One is the Bhagavad Vidhi and the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So there would be certain vidhis that you have to follow. Anantirth Prabhu can throw some more light on that.
Srila Prabhupada quotes one verse from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, where he says, Yadi Hari tapasa tatakim, Nadi Hari tapasa tatakim. That if by doing all these ritualistic activities, penance and austerities, you do not attract Krishna, what is the use? It's a useless waste of time. But if by doing that, you attract Krishna, then it has value.
No, sure.
Yes.
The point you're making, but there are certain rituals that are important too. But it doesn't mean that we follow everything. For example, it's according to the situation that you're in, right? For example, if any one of us, let's say, are not doing deity worship, there is certain things that are important for those who are doing deity worship do not apply to us. What applies is our mood and motivation there. Not that if we become so ritualistic that we fall in the trap of the rituals, right? Then the purpose of the ritual. So like for example in Nectar of Instruction, niyam agraha and niyam agraha. Following the rules for the purposes of furthering our Krishna consciousness as opposed to coming in the way of our Krishna consciousness. We become so much entrapped with the rituals that we lose sight of the purpose of performing those rituals, which is ultimately to please Krishna. Does it make sense? Okay.
Hare Krishna. In Padma Puran also there is a slok which says Smartavyah satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatu chit. That we should remember Vishnu all the time and never forget him. Sarva vidhi nishedhaha syur etayor eva kinkaraha. That all the rules and regulations are servants of this one principle. 2. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. So
right.
Rules and regulations can be like made servants of this principle.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
That's right.
Hare Krishna. It's your unknown figure here in Mayapur. Maybe you could give a little bit background of your devotional history and preaching activities so the devotees get to know you a little bit.
Well, so my name is Rasa Krida Parayana Das. I live with my family in Oman, Muscat. I was introduced to Krishna consciousness in '86 in Sri Vrindavan Dham. And since 1990, I've been associated with the expansion of Krishna consciousness in the Middle East, particularly in Oman, when His Holiness Jayapataka Swami started the preaching mission there, primarily for the people from India, because you can't preach to the locals there. My wife is also here, Apurva Shakti, and so we started very young, and he involved many of us. It was one of the, I would say, the most exciting, pioneering days of few devotees at that time, which today, in all over the Gulf, there are thousands and thousands of practicing devotees. So we've been very fortunate to be part of that process, including from 95 to year 2000. Me and my wife were sent by His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj to Sharjah to start a preaching center there. When we went in, we had few families, 2-3 of them. And in 2000, when I moved back to Muscat, we had about 500 devotees chanting Hare Krishna, many initiated. Then in 2009, I got involved with serving the GBC as one of the strategic planning team members under the our chairperson was His Grace Gopal Bhatta Prabhu. So I did that service till about 2020. Then the COVID came in, and including chairing the GBC Succession Committee, which again has been revived, and I'm one of the members of that standing committee of the GBC. So that's a bit on the institutional services that I do. Besides that, professionally, I'm working in Oman because you can't live there. You have to work. So I work as a chief strategy officer for one of the large business houses in Oman. So, Hare Krishna. Any other comments on Hare Krishna? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Grantharaj ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.